行600余里，出都霍罗国境，自范衍那国。范衍那国东西2000余里，南北300余里，在雪山之中也。人依山谷，逐氏依居，国大都城，居崖夸谷，长6、7里，北背高岩，有疏麦，少花果，宜畜牧，多养马。王城东北山阿有力佛石像，高140-50尺，金色晃耀，宝石焕烂。东有伽蓝，此国先王之所建也。伽蓝东有偷食释迦佛立像，高100余尺，分身别柱，总合成立。城东23里伽蓝中有佛入涅盘卧像，长1000余尺。
This is the account of the famous Buddhist monk Xuangzang, who visited Bamiyan in the 7th century CE during the Tang dynasty. Together with the head of culture of UNESCO in Kabul, Brendan Kassar, and Professor Kazuya Yamauchi from Taikyo University, we traveled to Bamiyan searching for traces of the royal city and the sleeping Buddha, but also to shed a new light on the different sites that make up the UNESCO World Heritage Property of Bamiyan. This will be the first time for the professor in many years to set foot again in Afghanistan.
Concerning our Bamiyan archaeology, we still have 2 points to be solved. One, sleeping Buddha, and also royal village, a royal palace. It should be located a little bit western side. I think sleeping Buddha is mentioned by Xuangzang. It should be 380 meters long. This kind of big monument only can be found at the Shafri Gorgora area.
See.
Not in front of 2 big Buddhas.
Right.
No.
Right.
The sheer beauty of the desert mountain landscape is hypnotizing. The villages that seem to look like they would have for centuries evoke Orientalist paintings from a past century. This is the Afghanistan of the movies. At the same time, none of the houses we see have running water. There is no electrical grid when you leave big cities. There are no hospitals, barely any schools. I cannot help but think that the price of modernism does not seem so high when we see the harsh price of the picturesque.
I am now at Bamiyan Daiの入り口にいます。現状は630年頃このバーミヤンを訪れますが、その時の通った場所がまさにここだと思います。ここで道は北と西に分かれていますが、おそらく現状は北から来る道を通ってバーミヤン大に入ったんだと思います。
We leave autumn behind, and in a matter of hours find ourselves in winter. Driving on for a couple of kilometers, the weather changes completely. It is freezing cold, and the mixture of snow and rain stares down on us as we set sight on the dark hole where once a huge, colossal Buddha statue used to stand. Looking at the niche, I feel like looking at a scar. A scar that all of us are bearing, a horrid example of iconoclasm. Thinking about these things, we walk towards the smaller Eastern Buddha niche, which the local population affectuously called Shamama Buddha, which could be translated to the fragrant Buddha. Climbing up on the side of the Eastern Buddha, we reach a balcony with a commanding view of the valley.
When the Xuangzang came here in 630 or 31, so there was an antechamber, complete antechamber.
I see.
There were 3 meters at least. Has been lost during thousand years.
So what do you think? Would it make sense that the sleeping Buddha is there?
Yeah, it's good because it's visible.
If it was 380 meters long along the base of Sharigulgala, it would be seen easily from here, very easily.
We follow Professor Yamauchi, who walks pensively in front of us. We are at the place we think the sleeping Buddha would have been. The professor shows us the remains of a stupa he excavated more than 10 years ago.
We made an excavation here. You can see this remains of stupa now. We excavate here and I find the outer facade of stupa and also remains of 13th century Islamic period. At the time, nobody believed in the Shahri-Golgara area there were remains of Buddhism, but it is a good evidence for us. So there should be in the slope of Shahri-Golgara. So this time, as a UNESCO mission, I came here to find the trace of sleeping Buddha.
Barely more than a mold of rocks is visible today of the stupa Professor Yamauchi mentions. But as he says, the most important discovery was the fact that near Shahri-Golgara were indeed traces of Buddhist Kushan-era occupation. Going back to Xuangzang's account, it is also clear that the sleeping Buddha should be next to a mountain that was used for sacrifices, and which held thus a religious purpose at the time. This is yet another indicator that we might be on the right track. As the sky continues to clear up, we went to the suggested location of the world city, or at least what we think are the remains of it. At the west side of the Western Buddha, we climbed through debris and ruins looking for traces or mere hints of a palace or a tomb.
Yes.
And we are two here.
Maybe.
Behind the city. I think this is the territory.
Yes. Makes sense.
Yes.
The whole area in front of the cliff has archaeological significance. And a lot of it is unexplored. So it's based on logical assumptions that the significance of the Buddha niches, clearly the religious architecture, the space in front of the cliff therefore is likely, very likely to have significant archaeological remains.
As we climbed down from the slope next to the Western Buddha, we entered a secret passage, which is normally sealed off. This passage led us to the upper gallery on the top of the Western Buddha niche. In the past, we would have stood behind the head of the statue, at the height of its eyes. Now we look directly on the valley and the Hindu Kush mountains in front of us.